Hey everybody, and welcome. I'm Haley Mitchell-Haugen. I am the editor of Sheila-Na-Gig Online and Sheila-Na-Gig Editions. And tonight we are celebrating Ohio poet Paula J. Lambert and the publication of her new book, Terms of Venery Revised. So welcome everybody who's here to listen to that. And then we have a selection of contributors from our winter Sheila-Na-Gig online issue. So lots of great things going on today. So welcome everybody, and welcome Paula. If you don't know, last year Sheila-Na-Gig published another of Paula's collection, as if this did not happen every day. So this one's still available from us as well. And of course, I consider it a huge honor when authors come back for more and want me to, publish an additional book by them. So I'm happy to have the honor to do so, Paula, and to have you here tonight. I'm going to read Paula's bio for those of you who may not know her. Paula J. Lambert has published 4 previous full-length poetry collections, and she's authored 6 chapbooks, including her most recent chapbook, Sinkhole, from Bottle Cap Press, also this year. She's been busy. She is also a literary translator and was awarded the 2021 PEN America L'Engle Raman Prize for Mentorship. Her work has been supported by the Ohio Arts Council, the Greater Columbus Arts Council, and the Virginia Center for Creative Arts. She's a 2023 winner of the Slippery Elm Poetry Prize and the New England Poetry Club's Amy Lowell Prize, and awarded a 2021 Editor's Choice Award from Sheila-Na-Gig. Like many of our authors, Paula first started sending us work to Sheila-Na-Gig Online, and that's how we met, which is great. And she was the 2019 winner of the Heartland Broadside Series. Lambert owns Full Crescent Press, a small publisher of poetry books and broadsides, through which she's founded and supported numerous public readings and festivals that support the intersection of poetry and science, including the Sun and Moon Festival, now hosted by the Ohio Poetry Association. She lives in Columbus with her husband, Dr. Michael Perkins, a philosopher and technologist. Welcome, Paula. Great to have you back here.
I'm just thrilled to be here and just so pleased to see so many faces here. Thanks everybody for coming. Thank you to Haley for this. Yes, it's my second book. I think these are 2 real beauties here, and I just want to say the artwork on this is another embroidery artist. This is Michelle Kingdom, and just so proud of how pretty this one looks. So thank you, Haley. Thanks everybody at Sheila-Na-Gig. I'm going to jump right in, and starting with what terms of venery means. Terms of venery are any word for a group of animals or birds. So even if we say a herd of elephants, that's kind of a term of venery. But we're familiar with them in birds because we talk about a murder of crows or a charm of goldfinches, and those are all terms of venery revised. There are terms of venery. There's 3 revised versions in the book, and I'm going to open with the first one, which is Terms of Venery Revised for the Anthropocene. It's just a little bitty poem. I'm going to read a longer one next, but we'll start with this little one. Terms of Venery Revised for the Anthropocene. An extinction of birds, a ghosting of whales, a haunting of humans, a memory of trees, an echo of monarchs, a sobbing of stars. There are 2 more of those, Terms of Venery Revised for the Church and Terms of Venery Revised for the Ancestors. But I'm going to jump into a longer poem next. The idea here is that we're all dealing with, and have been for some time, climate crisis. Climate change went to climate crisis, and it's turned pretty quickly to climate catastrophe, environmental catastrophe, even political catastrophe, and they're all linked. But at the same time, we're also dealing with all our everyday personal catastrophes, right? Our kids get sick, our aging parents we have to take care of. It's all part of that. And that was the theme of the book. I think it's a theme I've been working on for some time and was starting to work through in the last book, but that was my focus for this one. So I'm going to read a longer poem called Stringfoot. Stringfoot. It's told in sections. I'll just put a little pause in between. And the first section explains the title, I think, pretty well. The only other thing I may have to gloss is Nikola Tesla. We hope maybe have heard of course, a car Tesla. That company was named for Nikola Tesla, the scientist. But he, at the end of his life, was in love with a pigeon. This is a pigeon poem, so that's just mentioned in here. If you don't know that history, you can Google it. But I have another poem about that in another book. But this is Stringfoot. Is the reason for so many pigeons with missing toes. Stringfoot. Human hair, tangles of thread and yarn, dentifloss. The detritus of humans strangling the toe, the foot, the limb, until it necrotizes and falls off. Once, I loved someone who lived on an idyllic Indiana farm, and I loved sitting on the small back porch at sunset, freshly bathed, drawing a paddle brush through my wet, waist-length hair. I loved the texture of dusk there. The purple martins dive and dance through the evening's dying light. I believed the loose strands I pulled from the hairbrush and offered to the air were a gift. For the nests, I figured, inside the huge house on its towering pole, and I tell you now, I felt so glad to be of help, to be part of a world where every night darkness fell just like this, like a billowing, line-dried sheet, still scented with the breeze. So even in our dreams, the birds continued to sweep those perfect, gloaming skies. The highest concentration of one-legged pigeons in urban city centers is always near the salons. And in that viral video of a dancing bird bouncing to the beat of a sidewalk busker, hashtag happiness, hashtag inspiration, hashtag this bird is my everything, hashtag blurred lines, there must have been a salon nearby. That was a stringfoot bird. The only pigeons where I live are mourning doves. I know every sound they make, the mating calls, the wing whistle warnings. Once, suddenly, a perfect snow-white dove appeared in the yard as if somewhere a magician had released him to my care. And once a friend told me about a dove in his yard, a story, he said, only I would understand. Crossing the yard at twilight, carrying scraps to the can at the curb, he saw dun-colored feathers in the grass. On his way back, he saw more feathers, one spotted with blood, and looked up to see a single tuft of something like the first flake of snow in winter floating down. Mesmerized, he watched as a steady stream of feathers cascaded down all around him. A hawk, he realized, in the branches above, was eating its prey. My friend and I both are waiting for our mothers to die. I know how that sounds. It's nonetheless true. How's your mom, we ask when we get together for lunch, for tea, for walks in our backyard gardens. Hanging in there. How's yours? Those garden get-togethers started with COVID, and we learned to ask about the coneflowers, too, the sunflowers starting to rise, the hydrangeas sprawling in the sun. Those first 4 years had taught us a new tenderness, and another mother we knew was dying too. We rallied, though, when the vaccines came, and believed for a while we could overcome anything. But the mourning doves, wings whirring like drones, told us to think again. This year, under the weight of a new torrent of terror, spring hardly happened at all. The brown grass gasped into green, but everything else struggling to blossom just froze in place. Yellow daffodils, the pink blooms of the tulip magnolia, purple phlox just starting to blush. Everything froze, shriveling back to brown. A new spring will come, we know, and the peonies, the bergamot, those heavy hydrangeas, and so will the searing heat, the wildfires, an ever-widening drought. How's your mother? We'll continue to ask. Hanging in there, we'll keep saying, for a little while longer. The difference between pigeons and doves is negligible. Mostly the doves are smaller. Pigeons, people think, are disease-ridden birds, rats with wings, while doves are somehow symbols of hope. A few years back in New York City, walking through Washington Square Park, our son showed us where he sometimes plays chess. We listened to jazz, saw so many artists selling prints of their work, and plein air painters working in real time. When I sat on a bench to watch the pigeons for a while, I tried to see them as anything but ordinary birds, oil-slick gray, necks bobbing like chickens, weirdly wide-open eyes holding only the blankest of stares. I wondered how Tesla could have fallen in love, except that by then, Nikola Tesla was crazy. When I rejoined the family, we wandered to the dog park, saw so many expensive breeds, and I marveled at the sculpted gardens close by, flowers brilliantly in bloom, and, it turned out, forming an elegant entryway for the public restrooms. "You don't want to go in there," our son said, turning away, and when I asked him why, he laughed. "You just don't." He'd used the men's room just once, he said, and you can't believe how backed up it was. Shit everywhere, the smell. Here's the thing, though, and not just about the bathrooms in Washington Square Park. People need to drop their shit somewhere, physically, metaphorically, or more than toilets back up. More than the not enough mental health facilities, more than the too many gun shops and shooting galleries. Public parks and public schools, shopping malls and movie theaters are filled with people carrying their shit like so many stringfoot birds, bearing the burden of what nobody wanted to deal with, losing parts of themselves because nobody, even people like me with the best of intentions, had any idea what to do. My favorite park here is at Antrim Lake. My friend and I go off the main trail by parting the branches of invasive honeysuckle and walking instead on the wooded path that follows the river and opens to a beautiful, barren floodplain. The trees there, some of them, are covered in poison ivy. But the ivy only grows as far as people are tall, as high as people can reach. So we keep our distance and study the trees by looking up. The bark helps us parse the various oaks and maples, cottonwoods, hackberry, slippery elm, and when we're not sure, we look higher, studying the crowns where green leaves shimmer and wave against the light of brilliant blue skies. Our favorite tree by far are the sycamores, silver white, holy mothers indeed, guarding the banks like queens. My favorite birds at Antrim Park are the great blue herons, less plentiful than the geese and mallards, harder to find. But there, with the robins and cardinals, sparrows and finches, flickers sometimes, and migrating warblers, red-winged blackbirds, and always, always the delicate doves, named for the sound that resembles our sorrow, loved for signifying that which we hold most sacred, and separate, somehow, from what we consider diseased. No one wants to see a dove die, but no one really wants to fall to the hawk its meal. That's nature, we say, the way the world works. It happens every day. No one wants to see a stringfoot pigeon lose a toe, a foot, a leg. It's not the same as the hawk, but still, no one believes anything they've done could possibly be to blame. But the suffering of stringfoot birds is wholly preventable. There's no one to blame but us, our hair, our wigs, our weaves, our ribbons and thread and yarn, that floss we use to clean our teeth every day, our trash, blowing about the streets and sidewalks and killing more than the birds. No one wants to see their mother die. We're doing it just the same. We see the bloody telltale signs, we turn our heads away. We know the dove is dying, but hashtag love to tell ourselves the bird is hashtag dancing. Hashtag I'm fine, it's fine, everything's fine. I'm not sure why we're so afraid to drop our shit and say it's not. To say, I see it now. I'm sorry. We carry our pain like threads of hair tangled around our hearts, anger like floss knotting our nerves, grief and sadness, the loss of hope, as just one bird eating another. We're the walking wounded, we're the birds in mourning. Nikola Tesla wasn't crazy when he fell in love with a bird. He said, I understood her, and she understood me. If we all understood what the birds are telling us, what the birds are showing us, we all might come to understand love at its finest. We all might come to understand death in its natural course as a blessing. We might come to understand the suffering we inflict on each other is something that binds us all, that the bounty of birds winging their way across the planet are migrating versions of you and of me, that when one bird's in trouble, we all are. When one bird takes flight, we all do. When one bird calls, we all can answer. When one bird sings, our throats together can open to complete the chorus that greets the dawn of a brand new day. And together, at dusk, as the day is closing, we can dive and dance through the gloaming. That's Stringfoot. And I'm going to move to another poem called Powder Down. Powder Down, and at the end of this poem it mentions another one of those terms of venery. After this one there'll just be one last short poem. But Powder Down. This is something the poem mentions, this is something I experienced years ago, maybe not 20 years ago, maybe 15 years ago. Never seen it before, didn't know what it was, tried to research what it was called or what the heck had just happened, and I couldn't find it anywhere. And I only fairly recently finally found that this phenomenon that the poem explains is called powder down. Powder down. Call it an imprint, what remains of the dove when it hits the glass, a reverse negative. It's something you don't forget when you see it. The first time, I was sure it was proof of God, proof at least of the holy. Maybe you thought that too. Hidden below some birds' breast feathers are patches of down that never molt. They grow and grow until the tips break down into dust. Remember that you are dust, and to dust you shall return. Some birds claw that talc back into their feathers as they preen. When a dove careens into what they never saw coming, what they didn't know was a reflection of sky solid as stone, they leave that residue behind. Some birds recover, some birds don't. Here are two stories. First, the snow-white dove in my yard this summer, released at a wedding maybe, or from a magician's hat, or escaped from a cage in somebody's suburban home. He leapt from the weedy brush I walked through, landed on my neighbor's roof. Let me watch him from there. I took his picture. I still might have thought it a dream had my husband not told me later he'd seen the bird from the window. We never saw him again. I looked. Years ago, there was a bird I never saw who left his imprint on the glass. It was something you don't forget. I was sure it was proof of God, proof at least of the holy. Maybe you thought that too. Maybe I was the bird. Maybe you were. Maybe he was. Maybe I was what was left behind, or you were, or he was. Maybe the dove who came to my yard escaped. Maybe he was asking for forgiveness. Maybe the bird had a genetic mutation and was snatched by the hawk I've seen lurking before. So be it. A flock of doves is sometimes called a pitying. A flock of doves is sometimes called a flight. What remains of the dove when it hits the glass is no mystery. What remains of the dove has a name. That's Powder Down. And one last poem I'm going to end with is called Apocalypse, because of course it is. Apocalypse. Just as ocean holds her arms open to the melting glacier, just as air so wildly embraces fire that sky might waltz with the smoke, just as hillsides tumble and slide in their haste to kiss the unmoving surface of the valley, and sinkholes rend themselves open to the void, so you, in your sublime terror, drowning, burning, giving in to gravity and the vast emptiness of mystical love, see sacred singularity at last. Oneness, wholeness, what the sandy particles of stardust were sent here to grasp. That's Apocalypse, and this is Terms of Venery Revised. And I thank you so much, and I look forward to the readers coming next. Thanks, y'all.
Thank you so much, Paula. It's a treat to hear you read one of the longer pieces. A lot of people don't do that, so it's great to have a platform for that tonight. So we are celebrating Paula Lambert and the release of Terms of Venery, which I've been mispronouncing. So thank you for that. So available now from Sheila-Na-Gig Editions. And now we're going to move into our invited mic portion of the evening. We have contributors from Sheila-Na-Gig's 10.2 volume, our winter 2025 issue in our 10th year, hard to believe, of publishing online. So really great. So David Cazden, welcome, and you can take it away for us.
I'm David Cazden, and I'm going to read the poem I had in the magazine called Lean Season. Crows drag the dark crosses of their bodies over the yard, searching thin stalks of grass in the snow crust, feathers fluffed like loose raincoats my dad wore even on nice days walking to teach class. Mostly he'd stay in his study, walled in by books on shelves in stacks with a card catalog to keep track. When I was 9, he taught me how every snowflake of the Holocaust fell of its own weight through iron clouds. Resignation carved itself like a snowdrift into his face each time he showed me pictures of abandoned buildings, windows with grates, a field where they ate all the grass. Decades later, I forgave him for never loving me, though I remember crawling under his piano as he played Scott Joplin, notes like icicles in the February light, as his feet worked the pedals like walking the Brooklyn streets. Now that he's gone, the crows returning fly with his spirit, settling back on the lawn, dragging sooty feathers they scavenge for food, leave ancient tracks like wounds in the snow. Second poem I want to read is a poem about my hometown, Danville, a small town in Kentucky in Boyle County. Boyle County Snake. In Danville's quiescent morning, my neighbor knocked. I'm Ebony from next door. I found the snake, and if my husband ever knows, he'll sell our place and move away. I wanted to help, so I took my snow shovel into summer, and Ebony and I went behind the house. Wild new grass, tough contractor's mesh on the fledgling lawn, where I found a 5-foot snake beneath the nets. Now I knew in Boyle County, snake eyes slit like vertical blinds meant venom, days of pain, that round eyes reflect only our own fear and the faintest rinds of sky. So I made 5 shovel stabs just to break the mesh and lift the net away. I cradled the serpent on the shovel, its mouth opening as if to speak, body coiling in memory's thickets. I carried it to a field of copper grasses that seemed to stretch forever behind our homes. I hoped it would survive, thin as a thread of moonlight in the rippling fields. Walking home, my morning returned with that stillborn silence only small towns have. Late afternoon clouds plumed in, unfolding like a spell. Rains knocked our town, fattening rings of trees, washing everything, loose grass, slivered scales, and all the poison we imagined, not the shame we felt, putting plastic on the lawns, trapping whatever clings beside us on the ground.
That was amazing, David.
Thank
And
you.
Paula. I feel like there's a theme going here. I don't know whether I fit in or not, but I'm going to read. I'm Wendy McVicker. I'm here in Athens, Ohio. I'm so grateful to be part of this community, and I'm going to read 2 poems, one in the winter issue and one not. And I think I'll start with the one not. It is called The River God. Today the river stays within its banks. Tall grasses and reeds on one side, shorn grass and tire tracks on the other. The river touches them both, flows on. Wind riffles and cools its surface. Water utters a small splash, exhales a pungency of earth and raw life. Is there something, someone other there in the greeny current? Eyes the color of water, gaze up with mute compassion. Is that the river god, crowned with a fish, transparent with light? The image ripples as you look, ripples and dissolves. For the rest of your ramble by the river, you hear the river god's song. You feel that fluvial current in your veins. You thought you would fly. Now you realize you must enter the water and swim. And the other one is called What Water Knows. Maybe it fits more in the theme that that Paula got us going on. What Water Knows. My friend knows his island home will be underwater one day, swallowed by the hungry sea. Another friend built her dream house on landfill, a narrow spit between ocean and bay. In storms, the waters meet, a family reunion where they talk with much bubbling and foam about how they will all be together again one day. Here, beside our tamed river, it rains and rains. The river jostles, pushes against her banks, struggles to find her way back to her old path through town. She rises. She knows. Water once owned this land. Water will take it back. Thank you.
That was a really powerful ending, Wendy. Beautiful. I'm Emily Patterson. I'm in Columbus, Ohio, and still really thrilled to say I'm a Sheila-Na-Gig author now too. My debut full-length book, The Birth of Undoing, came out a few months ago with Haley. So I'll read one from that, but first I'll start with my poem in this issue, which is called Psalm for the Common Milkweed. Among leaf litter and mulch, their stalks stand at least 5 feet, brittle forest at the edge of the parking lot. Pods pale and pebbly, husks of their summer selves, yet their insides shelter amber seeds, white whips, soft as yarn, tucked into tidy loops. I imagine their threads cushioning winter nests, fibers in flight toward future wings of future beings. January, I know I have named you a landscape of dread. Instead, let me learn to overwinter with such grace. Let me inhabit the hymn of each day equally. And then I'll read a seasonally appropriate one from my book, which is largely about both infertility and parenthood. And this one is one for my daughter when she was, I believe, 2. The first time I heard your separate song. This year, there aren't enough wings to go around, but you have a headband wrapped with glitter garland, white dress over white tights, toes in 2 small slippers. On stage, you are still and not singing. I lean forward in the pew, poised to pluck you from the scene, should the joy to the world become too much. As your forehead softens, I sit back, remember to glance at the hymnal, look elsewhere, at the other kids, shepherds with sheets tied to their heads, the wreath with its pink and violet tapers, everything agleam against a cardboard curtain painted navy, misshapen star at its crown. As the nave goes dark, you remain in place. I hold the glow of a candle alongside my quiet disbelief and wonder where the line went, the one between the anticipation of your needs and my own desires. I watch the warm wax slip from the flame, then catch you pulling your halo off, peering at the doll in its makeshift manger, and realize I'm the one holding still, holding on, my whole body humming as you begin to sing your separate song. Thank you.
That was so beautiful. Should the joy to the world become too much? I love that line, Emily, and it's an honor to read with all of you and to have a poem included in this beautiful issue. I'm Maya. I'm in Yonkers, New York, and I'll read my poem that's in the issue and then another pretty new poem. This one is called At a Nature Hotel, and it's in 5 parts. 1. The laws of nature are not to be questioned. Nevertheless, I questioned the man with 3 cell phones and heavy key rings the front desk sent to assess the swarm of tiny flying ants, alates he called them, claiming they emerged because of the unusual heat that crowded the walls and shower and sink of the small hotel bathroom. The man said, "What did you expect? You're at a nature hotel." 2. The human language has become 2 languages. I slid closed the pocket door that separated the bathroom with its trembling walls from the bedroom whose walls began to freckle with wings. The website said we'd be immersed in wilderness and wildlife. The website promised a hotel for those who want to leave urban life and experience the natural world comfortably. I stepped outside into the warm evening to witness the moon melting, a pat of butter in the navy bowl of sky. 3. It is that very darkness that is fearsome. Then I took a tissue and began to kill them, pressing them against the wall, leaving dark smears. I pressed and pressed and pressed, then stepped outside and wondered about my nature, and returned and pressed again. I thought about the day's heat, why it drove them out, why the light drew them in. I unscrewed the bulbs and scrubbed the stains from the walls. 4. Between concealments, the void looms. The children didn't brush their teeth that night, and there was no love-making. We slept dreamless, and in the morning, they were gone. 5. The nearer we approach the illusory light that is before us, the larger grows the shadow behind us. The fresh day led me to imagine that the human language is only one language, Wanting to believe the void is rife with light, I washed my face. And this next one it also happens to be in parts. It's in 4 parts. It's a little bit shorter, and it's called After Treatment. 1. After treatment, the body hangs a for rent sign on its dusty storefront, wondering who the new tenants will be. 2. Often I forget our bodies are a kitchen drawer in my mother's organized kitchen. Thick, stiff rubber bands, paper clips, small packets of tissues, torn pieces of hope, potential, keys to unknown doors and houses, foreign coins, emergency phone numbers in cursive penmanship. 3. A bee hobbling down the cracked driveway I am with this knee, so far from where I'd hope to be. 4. The dance teacher says, when we get tired, we all have the same patterns. Chaos is full of small gestures. We are all blocked. Admit. I struggle to admit. I seek the small gestures within the predictable patterns. When you admit, says the dance teacher, you can change. When you don't, you stay the same. I try to allow my body to learn from something I don't know, something familiar to someone else. Thank you.
I'm Arlene DeMaris from Avon, Connecticut. And I'm going to start with the poem that was in the issue and then read a companion poem. This is When You Ask About My Children. When you ask about my children, I say they are just like me, tall with unsettled weather, the gentle fiction of their faces. I say last week I saw the obituary of the boyfriend, almost their father, who died in his sleep. I say the names I never gave them are tattooed where I will never see. I say rain is hanging from the leaf edges of the wisteria vine, its blooms in pieces on the ground. I say, I wish I had the patience for roses. And the companion poem is When You Ask About My Grandchildren. I say the scar where my womb was cut out is a dirt road through fire-marked forest. I say imprints of fish have been found in shale in Wyoming, thousands of miles from the sea. I say the human ovum is an infinite set of nesting dolls telescoping. I say when I clip my fingernails on the patio, ants carry the crescent moons away. I say my voice has become a violin with all the strings missing, every word true and silent as my grandchildren playing in the next world. Thank you.
I'm going to read 2 poems, but first I'm Elaine Palencia. I live in Champaign-Urbana, Illinois, but I'm from Moorhead, Kentucky. And I first want to say that if you have not read George Franklin's Poetry in Pigeons, why don't you do that? I ordered it a while back and now just got around to reading it and love it. And I think it'll make you think about what you're doing. So thank you, George, for writing that. I'm going to first read a poem that is in Sheila-Na-Gig and then another one. This one is called Research. You're 2,259 miles away, according to my phone app, in the 90-degree Colombian Caribbean, chasing your research. That's how far a 56-year marriage can stretch. While here in Winter, Illinois, it's -5, everything quiet except the wind's plans to take us to -15 by noon, and squirrels burrowing for acorns. Across the snowfield outside our big window in a stand of bare trees, 3 large branches form a calligraphic A against the white sky, while 2 more in an adjoining tree make an X, as if the trees themselves are asking to be put out of this cold misery. Inside, the house is dim and still and frigid, perhaps like the afterlife, but with TV. This morning, when I opened the bedroom blinds, I was surprised and a little disappointed to see the world still there. And then my second poem is about writing, and it's from my chapbook, How to Prepare Escargots. On learning my manuscript did not receive a prize. In the announcement photo, the winning faces glisten like deep-fried donut holes. I, who have no face, taste bitter almonds. My bras have more life experience than some of these baby poets. Waiter, a double vertigo to go. Later, in my skull, the whisking of a silver broom brushing sand off the gears. Around midnight, the brain tucks into a tumble turn and ups its cadence, swimming for open water, back in the hunt, searching for the next unknown island. Thank you.
Thank you, Elaine, closing us up for tonight. And Elaine always makes me laugh every single time I hear your work. So always wonderful to have you here. So thank you to all of our invited mic readers from Sheila-Na-Gig's winter issue, and to Paula J. Lambert, who's celebrating her book, Terms of Venery Revised. So very excited to have you all here. And you can find us at Sheila-Na-Gig-blog.com. Find our books and our readings and everything you need to know. And thank you for coming.
on the ground.
Thank you. I got to hear them twice, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah, is that okay?
Yeah, that'll be perfect. I can just splice it in where it goes. And
Thank you. Sorry about that.
Yeah, no problem at all. So it's great. I'm in northeast Kentucky in the Ashland area.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So
That's where you are?
Yeah, that's where I live. So where are you?
Danville, which is bluegrass. It's near Lexington.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, it's about 2.5 hours from me, I guess.
Yeah, it's a good trip.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I teach for branch campus of Ohio University over in Ironton in Ohio, so it's just across the bridge from me.
Oh yeah.
It's like Ashland and then Ironton and then Huntington, West Virginia, up in that tri-state area.
Right, it's all in the two different states come together, or three.
Yeah.
Three
Yeah,
of
you
them.
can go to 3 states in one day very easily.
Yeah. I was in Maysville once. That's a nice place.
Yeah.
Is that it? Maysville, yeah, on the Ohio.
Are you from Kentucky originally?
Pretty much. I moved here when I was 7, and I'm from Oregon. But since I lived here since I was 7, less than 5 years I worked in San Diego. That kind of makes me from Kentucky.
Yeah. Well, I'm from Los Angeles and got here via OU through grad school, and job opened up right when I needed it, and so I stayed. So, yeah.
Ohio University.
Yeah, yeah.
And then you crossed the border into Ashland.
Yeah, just because the schools were a little bit better over here for my kids when we
okay.
needed them. Yeah.
Yeah, that's nice.
The kids are all grown, and one of them's on my campus now.
Yeah, I've been through Ashland a couple of times, but I never stopped there. I just went on through there, like on the way to West Virginia or somewhere.
Yeah, not a lot. Not a lot going on here. You got a lot
No,
more.
it's a nice place. I know someone from there. I just never stopped.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you, David. And I will send you guys the link when it's all done. I usually get those done on Sundays, so it'll be a couple days, but then I'll send it to you.
Thank you so much.
All right. Nice to meet you.
Sorry about that. Nice to meet you too.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.